Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Sunday Club. Hope you've all had a good week. Hope you've all had a good weekend. How is everybody? Gate 102 straight off the bat. Evening, mate. Hope you've had a good weekend. So yeah, a little bit late running tonight, but just wanted to make sure I got everything up and running. I hope everything is okay. You will see the Sunday rundown on the side of the screen here. I always get my left and right mixed up when I'm facing the screen. Got to ask there, because if anybody watched the live stream last week, you'll know why we're starting. Why is Kane underappreciated? The Lionesses squad as well. We'll have a look at that. Fan of the week, we'll do that as usual thing, calendar update, but obviously tonight we'll be taking a look at the England versus Portugal game next Friday, the Lionesses, but then we'll see where the chat goes, because last week, yeah, it went everywhere. So yeah, hope you're all doing well. Josh, welcome. Crystal Encore, welcome. Hopefully we're going to have a bit more of a, not peaceful, it was quite fun actually, wasn't it? But yeah, more reasonable discussions this evening. If the Bants three lines, they'll probably not be Bants this week, mate. It'll probably not happen. But I liked it. I like the little bit of Bants we had. So what I've done is I've stopped putting the question in the chat, because I've realised that I want you guys to be able to see the chat quicker as I'm replying to it, which is, oh, for God's sake, which is this side. No, I can't figure it out. That side. Yeah, because obviously when I had it like down here, it was blocking off half the chat, so you guys couldn't see. So I just thought, let me leave it open. So yeah. I've just put it in the chat, is my answer. So is Kane underappreciated? Yes or no? I think in terms of now, I think no one surely is questioning his legacy. I think it's now, is he underappreciated in terms of where he's at in his career, what role he's going to have playing with England moving forward, all those sorts of things really. So yeah, put your comments in on that regard. The Lionesses squad as well, we'll get it up very, very quickly. And we'll take a look at that. And yeah, the first England game, senior England game of 2025 is now less than a week away. Thank goodness. Now, I am a bit annoyed because I've double booked myself. Next Friday, I was going to do a live stream. Unfortunately, I'm giving a talk at an event on Friday, so I cannot do Friday, but I can do... Wait, I'm going to have to get my own calendar out now, because there's that many games coming up. It's all of a sudden gone very quiet, and then boom, there's going to be game after game after game coming up. So, yeah, obviously we've got this Friday, the Lionesses game. Yes, following Wednesday, England versus Spain. Let's do a live stream. So book it in your calendars. A week on Wednesday, we'll do a live stream for that game in the evening, which should be brilliant. Yeah, really looking forward to that. Hi, mate. I'm going to be at the England game in Block 103. Excellent, mate. Are you talking about the Lionesses game? I'm presuming you're talking about the Lionesses game. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you really enjoy it. Good block, that. Down at the... Oh, yeah, you'd be down in the bottom row, wouldn't you? So, bang on. I mean, this last week, there's not been a huge amount in terms of discussions. I think we're all just hanging about a little bit, aren't we, for Thomas Tuchel to drop his squad, and we know that'll be pretty soon. But yeah, it's, I mean, all of us can't wait for some sort of action on Friday. I'm sick of club football now. Absolutely bored stiff of it. England versus Albania. Okay, Charlie, yeah. I was wondering. Sorry, mate. I just didn't know which game you meant. I'll miss the game on Friday as well, unfortunately. I'm out in Cambridge, but we'll be there for the Spain game, hopefully. Yeah, no problem, mate. I'm sure you'll catch it wherever you're out, actually. Can't make the Lionesses match, but going to under-23s local to me instead. Where are they playing, Russell? I mean, the other thing is it's the next under-21 games is at bloody the same time, isn't it, as the senior game, which is a joke. Yeah, a real joke. Because it's going to really limit the people who's going to go out and see them, isn't it? Let me just... Stevenage. Okay, brilliant. Wasn't aware of that. Enjoy it, mate. Should be a good game. So yeah, the Lionesses. We've got to talk about the Lionesses because they are up and coming in. Two tough games. I mean, Spain and Portugal. Quite interesting, actually, that it's both of those two back to back, isn't it? Saint Evenage, as we say. Okay. England obviously away from home Friday. Estadio Municipal de Portimao is where they are playing. And then obviously back at home on Wednesday. Both games are going to be tough games. I think the Portugal one's quite difficult because it's been a long time since the Lionesses have played Portugal in any sort of competitive match. And so that'll be an interesting test. We all know the Spain one's probably going to be the true test. And ultimately, after, within the next week, we're going to have a really strong idea of where these Lionesses are at going into the summer and going into the Euros. Those of you that watched my preview video, I think these games are that important. I honestly think these UEFA Nations League games set up the year for the Lionesses. I'm not saying, obviously, if we lose every game in the Nations League, I'm not saying that there's no chance the Lionesses can win the Euros, but it's pretty unlikely, isn't it? So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think I've said before, I don't care what the FIFA rankings say, Spain are the best women's team in the world. Well, they're the world champions, so that's enough for me. They've actually got the trophy in the hand, so that's the true test, and that's the team that ultimately Spain, Germany. I still think probably the Euros is between Spain, Germany, and England. Despite England struggling for consistency, I won't say struggling, but struggling for consistency. I still think it's one of those three teams that are going to be one of the favourites to win it. And I think I've not checked the bookies odds actually. I'm pretty sure that they'll be quite similar. Sorry guys, just replying some. Gate 102 pocket. No. It's two perfect games to get them ready for the Euros. England will likely have to beat both Germany and Spain if they are to retain the trophy. Yeah, well, yeah, I completely agree. So yeah, I mean, like I said, it's not the be all and end all. I mean, England fans will see it as the be all and end all. At the end of the day, if we get relegated in this Nations League, for example, or get comfortably beat by Spain on that Wednesday night at home, I think it's going to say that England aren't miles away from retaining it, and ultimately Spain are going to have a really poor day. And I still think that's going to be the case. I really do. I have a gap between Spain and everybody else at the minute. So yeah, just another couple of things while we're on diaries actually. So obviously we'll do a live stream next Sunday. We'll do the actual game Wednesday night. I bet there then will not be live stream on Sunday the 2nd of March because I'm in Prague. Oh, hang on, I think I got disconnected then briefly, but because it's so close, to the Euros, I just feel like it's going to be. It's a little bit different. These aren't warm-up games, but it's so close to the tournament. Not a lot's going to change between now and the summer. And I think it's a great symbol in terms of how it's going to go over the summer. I really do. Hi, Match Channel. Good to have you with me. Beating Spain will definitely bring confidence to the team going into the tournament, but will also mean expectations are raised. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, look, it's a bit of a poison chalice, isn't it, going into a tournament as champions? Because unless really you meet in a semi-final or a final, everyone's going to be disappointed if you go out any earlier than that. Because that's the reality of it. At the end of the day, everyone's going to want to beat you. The pressure is all on England going into this tournament, and they didn't have that last time. I know it was sort of at home, and there was that pressure, but it was still a case of England hadn't won anything, not one of the major trophies or anything like that. So it was all very much, we'll just take it in our stride. It'd be great. England could potentially go on a run, but the pressure is massively on England going into this summer's tournament in terms of wanting a performance and to put up a fight when we defend this title. And I don't think it's realistic that anyone is sat there thinking that England should realistically go and defend the title. We should be in with a shout, most definitely, but I think to go and win it, I think that's a big ask. That's a big ask. It's a big ask for any team to retain a trophy at international level, given the time gaps between one tournament and another. It's just a phenomenal ask, and I'm not expecting England to win the Euros. I really am not. But it's certainly within reach. Portugal have been progressing in the last tournament. they were in a tight group in the last Euros and were close to knocking out the US in the group stage. I think the thing is about the women's game, and we saw that in the World Cup, didn't we? That the gaps really, really tightened up now. Really, really tightened up in terms of the gaps between the top teams and the lower teams, or so-called lower teams. I've said this before. I think we've said this numerous times on this channel over the live streams. It's difficult. There's less of a gap now between these teams, and I think because of the way the women's Euros isn't as big as the men ones, it means that the teams that are there are good quality teams. It's going to be a good tournament. I do wonder why everyone is hating the fact Tuchel is German, but Serena is Dutch, and everyone calls her an honorary Brit. It baffles my brain. Well, put it this way, mate. If Tuchel wins the World Cup, he will probably become king of England overnight. So, yeah, I know what you're saying. Absolutely. And that is one argument, isn't it? And we don't care. End of the day, it's the English lads on the pitch that matter, and that's what will matter at the end of the day. The format of women's qualifying tournament is better than the men's. I'd agree with that. I think it's too big now, the men's tournament, but we've had that discussion anyway, haven't we, previously? We have definitely had that. Will you be at Tuchel's first game? Yes, I'll be there, mate. I'll definitely be there. Be there for both games. I'm having to take quite a few days, like 3 days off work, because I'm such a wimp. I'll hold it out now, guys. I am not going to work after an England game when I'm getting back, even at midnight. I ain't going back. So I have to take 2 days off for a Monday night game because I can't finish work any earlier to be able to get to Wembley on the Monday. So I have to have the whole day off. And then on Tuesday, because I'm just horrendous if I haven't had sleep, I have to have the Tuesday off as well. And I know a lot of people will be thinking that's mental. But yeah, that's me all over. So I've got to have 3 days off for bloody Albania. And yeah, it's just... it's just annoying. Albania and Latvia giving me 3 days off. For me, it's not about what country they are. For me, it's about if they fit the profile. Serena has lots of respect of the players, and she's foreign, so hopefully it will be the same for Tuchel. Yeah, I'd agree. Never heard anyone refer to Serena as an honorary Brit. Well, in fact, maybe not. I mean, if she wins the World Cup, she can be an honorary Brit for me. Hopefully, I'll bump into you, but it depends where you're sitting. Oh, I've no idea. I can't remember. Russell might be able to tell you. He's got the tickets. But yeah, look, I'll be around. It's amazing how many people, actually. I mean, when you go to Wembley, or if you go to Wembley often, even though there's like 90,000 people cramming in, it's amazing when you're walking up to the ground how many people you bump into that you know and recognise from previous games. It is quite unusual how quickly you find people that... I mean, the difference is though, you guys will probably know me. Well, you will know me before I know you. The problem is I don't have a clue what any of you guys look like, or certainly not the vast majority of you. So if you do see me and I don't say hello, forgive me, because obviously I have no idea what you look like. Crystal means qualifying cycle is incorporated with the Nations League, meaning that England had stronger fixtures in the qualifying. Yeah. Where is the Portugal game at? It's in Portugal. It's... let me go back. I did just announce it. You might not have been on at the time. It's at the Estadio Municipal de Portimao. Let me find it on the map. Let me have a look. So it is in southern Portugal by the looks of it. Oh, it's quite a nice place. Alvor, Parchal. It's not a very big ground. Not a very big ground at all. In fact, it's tiny. Really tiny. So yeah, you probably haven't heard of it before. I'm watching a game at the moment taking place in the Algarve. Lovely, mate. Any update on the friendly in June? It is against Senegal at Forest, or was that just a rumour? No, it'll definitely be going ahead, mate. I mean, there was some smoke before that anyway the other week. I think they've just waiting to announce, and I don't know why. I don't know what the hold-up is. But I'll be really shocked now if it doesn't go ahead. Really shocked. I think the problem they've got is the size of the ground they've chosen. Because I think we said last week there's more travel supporters now than what fit in Forest ground. So I'm not sure. I mean, ultimately they could potentially then be travel club members if it's a popular game. There could be travel club members that don't get a ticket. and the potential that it goes around the country but never goes on general sale. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that will likely happen. I think a lot of Londoners won't travel outside of London, but a lot do. But so yeah, it's an interesting choice of ground. But I suppose you struggle for grounds, don't you, after a certain point? Hopefully, the next 2 summers will be memorable for the English FA. After Serena leaves, then they should get Emma Hayes. Well, I don't know about Emma Hayes. Bit put off with her over recent years. Bit of an idiot. Yeah, I'm with you there, Gate 102. I want Serena as long as possible. As long as possible. If you're new in the chat, if you're new to this channel, just having a quick look in, live stream, welcome. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Do these every single week, and I'll be covering the game. I will be dropping a preview game of this game for Friday, and that's the reason why I'm not putting my score prediction out there. I've thought, you know what, given that almost every single game for the Lionesses this year is really important, I am going to start doing preview games videos for those guys as well. So, yeah, I'll be dropping that probably Monday or Tuesday. I need some advice though in regards to this documentary, and sorry to go on about it, but it's more or less there now, but I don't want to release it and just drop, because the YouTube algorithm does not support this channel at all outside of England games. It really does not, which is the reason why I stopped doing a lot of other miniature videos in between fixtures, or tried to limit down what I did and did these instead. So I want to make sure I drop it at the right time for the part 1, because I've spent so much time in it and I don't want it to crash. And it may crash because it's not a very good video, but I want it to crash given the fact that people have given it a go. So I may hang fire on dropping it only for a couple of weeks. But yeah, it's more or less ready to go. How interesting. Let's see how the stream's doing. Let's give it a minute, guys. I think for some reason it's buffering a lot. I know what's going off with my internet. It's a nightmare. Tell you what, the English player at Porto didn't get a goal today, but last week he scored a late equaliser in a big game. I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be. Hang on. We had this last week, didn't I? When I had a load of issues with my live stream. Went on another one and it worked absolutely fine. It's so fucking annoying. Keep me posted on how the stream's doing, everyone, because it might gives me a good indicator in terms of what you guys can see and what you can't, and how useful it is for me to keep talking or stop and try and figure out my streaming issues. Kane is underappreciated by the casual England fans, but to the core fans, no. Do you think that's the case? I'll tell you what, let me check on my phone. I always use my phone to check how laggy the stream is. Let me have a look. Oh, hang on. I believe it might be a bit better now. Just someone put in the chat. Let me know. Let me know what's going off. Buffered a bit for a moment again. Okay. It's telling me now I should have a healthy stream. Marvellous. Danny Welbeck 2 assists this week. Legend. Get him in the squad. Get him in the squad. Honestly, what a legend. I love it. We all love him in here. If you don't like Danny Welbeck, get out of the... No, I'm joking. He's a legend. Absolute legend. He was so good. I loved him. He's not getting in the England squad, though, is it? I think I've said before, there's going to be some surprises, but he ain't getting in the England squad. There's no way he's getting in the England squad. Sancho and Sterling are yesterday's men. I saw that Sterling was trending on Twitter, and I thought, what's gone off here? And because I didn't watch any of the Premier League games this weekend, and I've just seen that he got. I mean, he was getting slated, absolutely slated, um, online about how bad he was, and I think there's a lot saying we got him for a free, but we still got ripped off with with the reaction from the Arsenal fans. Read an interesting article as well on Cole Palmer. Saying why has he slipped off a bit, and I think that's exaggerating it a little bit. He's still having a very, very strong season, but obviously Chelsea struggled a little bit this weekend. So yeah, all of a sudden it's one of those, isn't it, where options aren't always as strong as what you might think, and then they go strong again. Madueke, I'm understanding, might actually be injured as well. That is a concern. So maybe he's going to be lacking choices in those wide areas. How do you think Tuchel will set up under Tuchel? Do you mean England under Tuchel? I'm assuming you're saying. There needs to be a gargantuan injury crisis for Welbeck to return. Kane is our best player, in my opinion, and I think majority rate him. But you do get some who don't. But that's just football fans at times. Absolutely, mate. I think, right, and this is. I said this last week. It is the most exciting aspect for when Tuchel picks his squad in that first game. It's not. It doesn't matter, does it? Really? I mean, come on. And I'm not trying to sound like a big-headed England fan here who's taking it for granted, but there's no doubt we should be beating Albania and Latvia. There's no doubt. So, for me, the excitement on that first Thomas Tuchel game is the system. What system does he play? Not even so much the players. I think the players sometimes, with what's going off here in terms of form and injuries, I think sometimes his hand's going to be forced a little bit in terms of who he picks. There's going to be some surprises in there. There always will be. I think it's how he sets up. I mean, I cannot wait to see how he's going to set up. Rashford played very well yesterday, did he? Okay. I mean, this is the thing, though, with Rashford. He's going to have a spurt, isn't he? And this is what he did in the Man United. He went through phases, then got a kick up the arse, had a spurt. He's now moved to Villa. He's going to have a kick up the arse. He's going to play where it's the consistency with Rashford. No one doubts he's got a good 90 minutes in him. But it's the fact is he can't do it over a season, or very inconsistently does it over a season. And it seems like his mind wanders very easily. My only issue with Kane, which is probably many others, no one can hold a candle to him at the moment as a replacement. No, absolutely. Tuchel is the perfect manager for Kane as an older player. Yep, I'd agree. Absolutely agree. Josh, I mean, the lad who was on last week. The problem is, right, I know obviously we're all here as diehard England fans, loving Kane and all this lot, but the problem is he was probably speaking what a lot of people are thinking. He was saying what a lot of people were thinking, and I think a lot of this still stems from his performance at the Euros. I still think it stems from that in terms of there were no doubt games where he should have been dropped. He should have been dropped. It was like playing with men. And I think it's fair to say, in probably more than one game, he was probably our worst player. I think that's fair to say. I think the thing is, though, in the context of it, almost all players had a really poor tournament. Almost all teams had a really poor tournament. He seemed to have some sort of injury. So it's not just as black and white in that, but I think a lot of fans are still looking at that tournament and are really, really cross with Kane and can't seem to let that go. Or, let's be honest, for a lot of fans, they may not have even watched an England game outside the tournament. So they're just thinking back to how he was at the Euros and that it's amazing that he's still in the squad, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying that lad last week has hasn't watched the other England games. I'm sure he has. But what I'm trying to say is I don't think he's in a minority. I don't think that lad last week is in a minority. And no matter how mad we think that is, I think there's a good strong cohort of fans out there that that sort of agree with him. And I think. Yeah, I sort of think that's the worry. That is the worry. Chelsea fans know Tuchel well, and when he says he wants to put a second star on the shirt, he means it. One of his first lines at Chelsea were, "I'm going to build a team no one wants to play against." You say no politics, yet that guy was branding himself politically. Yeah, I know. It's hard though, isn't it, for me to... I mean, I need mods. I need moderators. It's hard for me to manage the chat, and ultimately you want to get it going, but we don't... I don't like to bring politics into it, and this is the problem with England's... a lot of people still believe that following England is a political statement. Quite an old-fashioned thing, that right-wing thing, and ultimately it's something that I can't say. We can't ignore politics. Obviously, politics has a part, but it's not something I want to be bringing into the chat where I can help it. And I certainly won't bring it in. But I get it. People have strong opinions. He did that in 4 and won the UEFA Champions League. It always frustrates me when people slag off Kane for not running in behind or dropping too deep. But that's just his game. And why should he change the way he plays? I mean, dropping deep is the way he plays, isn't it? People just need to get over that and think about how do we link him up with other players. I felt we weren't playing to Kane's strengths in the tournament, to be honest. Well, no, a little bit of that as well. But he was definitely, he was poor. He was really, really poor. Jay Stansfield might be an England player one day. Josh is loving that. Some far-left people might see supporting England as political. Yeah, look, some far-right people. There's no doubt, and there's no doubt that even if I tell people, for example, I go and watch England games, you see it in there. If you say you follow England, to some people of a certain generation, and it's a high percentage of people, it's still perceived in a certain way. It really is. It's still... got that little... People are a bit unsure now. I don't think it's still fully that way. Some people automatically think, I bet you get some right characters in there. And I know what type of people they're thinking of. But that comes with a long history of baggage, I think, with following England and what it meant. And it's still sort of clinging on. And we see that, obviously, in terms of our reputation abroad, which I've spoken to about numerous times on this channel. But yeah, there is that sort of, you follow England and automatically think, what are you like as a person? I watched Kane versus Leverkusen yesterday. He had one of the very few chances for Bayern. Besides that, he was dropping back often. If Serena wins the Euros again, then it would be magnificent. Back-to-back, I trust her a lot. I mean, mate, look, I'm not going to sit here and write him off completely. I'm not. Ultimately, England are still one of the best teams, certainly in Europe, no doubt. I just feel like Spain are the better team. But football's football. Anyone can beat anybody at the end of the day. And England can certainly beat Spain. It's just a tough ask. The fact that Kane didn't play well but still got the golden boot and scored in big moments tells you a lot about himself. Yeah, exactly. You can't take that away from him. End of the day, he was still getting the goals, wasn't he? Still getting the goals. So I think the thing is no doubt though Kane's getting a trophy this year. Well, he's definitely getting a trophy. I think Bayern are going to walk to the league, aren't they? In the end, yeah, he's going to win it. I think the thing is, last week someone was saying was it the same lad last week saying that the German league is just crap and look at how Sancho was and how bad he is now and all this, and I don't buy that at all. Yeah, I don't buy that. At all. I think he's definitely in with a shout of winning a good trophy, and the Bundesliga is a top trophy. With Kane, we are 14, 15 months away from the World Cup. 1.5 seasons for him. Will he be the player? Will he still be the player we know come World Cup 2026? I think that's the thing, and I think this is where, in this day and age, you see it, don't like you look at Lewandowski and to some aspects Ronaldo and Messi, and I know these are extraordinary players, but I'm not saying Kane is Ronaldo and Messi level, but I certainly think he's Lewandowski level, and ultimately he's playing, to his late 30s, and ultimately I think we're going to see that more often, the fact that players have much better fitness regimes, diets and stuff like that for longer periods of the career now, so is pushing 35 to 40, that sort of age bracket, beyond players moving forward? Possibly not. Obviously, he's not going to be the player that we know and love. He's going to lose something by that age, but Is he still going to be miles ahead of anything else that we've got? Possibly, yeah. Because how do you replace players like Harry Kane? And that's ultimately the question, isn't it? In the World Cup, though, we had a lot of injuries and didn't have Beth Mead, etc. I think if we have a fully fit squad going to the summer, then we get to the final, then it's one-off game from there. I think at the World Cup we rode our luck. Remember, Nigeria should have knocked us out pretty early on in that tournament. We rode our luck, but ultimately good teams know how to win when they're not playing well. That is ultimately the top teams, and you need that bit of magic, bit of quality. And I think England have always had that. I think it's keeping it solid at the back. And if we're talking about lionesses, and for both really, for men and women, I think it's the same problems. Keeping the defence solid and creating chances up front. And I think it's been a bit hit and miss over the past couple of years for both teams. Kane broke 2 of Lewandowski's Bayern records in his first season. Yeah, exactly. So I'd definitely put Kane and Lewandowski in that same sort of tier rating. If you're going to rank them, he's definitely up there. So why not? Why can't Kane do it? I think, like I said, it's going to be more common that we see players playing much later in the career. It's just a big ask. I mean, who knows what happens to somebody's body at a certain age? Kane's may fail him, despite him actually looking after himself. Sometimes players get certain injuries. It's a big if, but ultimately he's still going to be a big person to replace at 40, isn't he? Let me load up. Sorry, I'm just getting the group. Let me load up the squad. Now the problem is I've loaded it up and I've just realised I can barely see this, so I'm going to have to get it on my phone, I think, because the writing is so small. I mean, you guys will have a much better view of it than I will. So Mary Hertz, Hannah Hampton, Anna Morehouse, Millie Bright, Lucy Bronze, Jess Carter, Neem Charles, Maya Letizier, Esme Morgan, Millie Turner, Leah Williamson, and Lottie Ruben Moy. Laura Blinkindle Brown, Grace Clinton, Ruby Mace, Jess Park, Ella Toon, Kira Walsh, Aggie Beaver Jones, Lauren James, Beth Mead, Jess Naz, Nikita Paris, and Alessia Russo. Strong squad, a lot of experience. I think that midfield, though, you look at that midfield and I think there's a lot of inexperience in there. Is this the team that will be looking to defend the Euros? Obviously, Chloe Kelly's not in there. That famously made the headlines when this was announced, but she hasn't played enough games. Obviously, she's moved during this transfer window. So there's probably obviously going to be a few more players that come into that and swap out. But yeah, it's just I think it's a strong squad. The midfield though does look like it's lacking a little bit in experience. I think that's fair to say. So as I'm putting this in here, I mean, Kane can aspire to Zlatan, Ronaldo still playing, and Pepe, who have played in there. I mean, Pepe is just like I don't know, is he AI? Pepe feels like he's AI. Honestly, he feels like he was around when I was a child. It's just mental. Well, he probably was, actually. He was around when I was a child. It's just, yeah, it's just ridiculous, Pepe. Pepe feels like Pepe's 50, not 40. Yeah, mental. Absolutely mental. Grace Clinton is going to be one for the future, says Russell. Okay, good shout, mate. Good shout. I do think the midfield though is lacking experience, but obviously particularly at tournament level. It's where, you know, how can we get that balance between bringing some of these young exciting players through, but then also, yeah, not throwing in the kitchen in terms of leaving all that old school talent and experience back home. Fine margins, definitely fine margins. So yeah, tough one, but I think ultimately Serena knows what she's doing, doesn't she? She knows what she's doing. Yeah, 42. It's outrageous. The only thing Pepe lost was hair. Did he ever have hair? I can't remember him ever having it. 1 second, guys. Yeah, it's good to see Nikita Paris back, but I think it's one of them where I don't know. It's yeah, bit of a. I mean, obviously looking at is Lauren James missing? Lauren James is obviously missing. It's. I mean, the striking options as well. Oh no, Lauren James is there. She's in the forward list. Sorry, missed that. I thought Lauren James was missing then. Yeah, okay. It's I think there's experience in that back line. I mean, it's very experienced defence actually. Looking at it again with fresh pair of eyes. The forwards pretty experienced. It's that midfield, isn't it? The midfield is probably the one where you're thinking, actually, yeah, we need that finer balance. But who knows? I mean, ultimately, players have to come through. They could claim a spot. It's a good opportunity for some of these players to really claim the position, actually. But that midfield against Spain, you do worry a little bit. Lauren James scored today. No, Lauren Hemp. Yeah, that's, you know what? When I was looking at it, I thought I saw Lauren James score today, and then I was thinking, why isn't she in this squad? And then obviously I realised she's in the forwards list. Yeah, no, I like I said, I think defenders, goalkeepers wise, very solid. Forwards wise, plenty of options. It's that midfielder, and I think that's what I'm saying. And comparing it against Spain, when they're probably going to run rings around us a little bit. I mean, ultimately, they were very experienced. England squad got comfortably beaten in the World Cup final, didn't they? So maybe these girls will be able to give it a better shout. But no, it's going to be interesting. I think the Spain game is going to be, the Portugal game, that is either going to lead us going into Wednesday full of fear or full of hope. Not saying that a comfortable win over Portugal or a win over Portugal would mean that, you know, we could got a chance of beating Spain ultimately if we lose against Portugal and play pretty poorly. I'm going to be worrying about Wednesday night. Yeah. So I look, good squad, good exciting squad, and I'm really looking forward to the games. And to be honest with you, I just can't wait to see an England game. It's doing my head in now. Will be interesting who she selects as keeper. Been rotating recently. Yeah, I think it's always worth rotating your keepers, and that's another thing actually. It brings us on to the men. I mean, Mary Earps and Jordan Pickford, they're like two peas in a pod, aren't they? For both the senior teams, for the women's and men's. You just feel like they're the ones ultimately that have had that position for a while. Amazing, arguably the best keepers we've had in either generation for a long time. But yeah, it's who can knock Pickford off his post and who can knock Mary off a post. Will Russo still be Vegan's new main striker? Yeah, good point. I'm so annoyed we don't get the replay money. I mean, the FA Cup replays. I might do a sole thing on the FA Cup, actually, a separate video, because the FA Cup, you'll see when this documentary lands, someone mentions the FA Cup being, you know, in terms of the state of that and English football and stuff like that. The FA Cup is just, yeah, banning replays. I don't think anyone particularly agrees with it, do they really, apart from chairmen and managers of top Premier League clubs, because they can't be asked playing the games. I think they all forget that they work in the entertainment industry, don't they? And they're there to just literally entertain us. So, yeah. Well, Serena has one more Euros and one more World Cup at least. Let's hope it's successful after a couple of tournaments. I mean, let's discuss this now, because we did the same in regards to Gareth Southgate at the last Euros. I mean, ultimately, it was writing was on the wall that Gareth Southgate probably was going to leave. If Serena, let's take an example where if we get knocked out in the group stage of the Euros, do we stick with Serena? I think let's play disaster planning. I've been doing that at work. Let's do some disaster planning. If Serena rocks up with this England team, we lose every game, which is possible, completely possible, or we get knocked out in the group stage, do we stick with Serena or do we replace her? Charlie, 100% yes. Fair enough. Yeah, I'll completely get that. It's a tough group. Anything can happen in tournaments. Yeah, no, 100%. I think it will obviously then put a huge amount of pressure on her. I think that's the only way she does come out of this, with a huge amount of pressure on her after. I think if we get knocked out in the group stage, in a knockout round, we get knocked out. That's tournament football, isn't it, at the end of the day? I think if she fails to get out of the group, I think there's a lot of pressure on her. A lot of pressure on it. And then those build-up years to the World Cup look really different then. I think every game gets scrutinised. The match channel, but then you can't have one league, one team saying that we play one game and then another one doesn't. It has to be the same across the board. Now I completely agree, because I think did you say it should be split, but now I completely agree it needs to be the same. There's no one else better than her available. Good point. Good point. To be fair, my club Derby lost replay money when we lost on pens to Leyton Orient. Oh, so you're a Derby fan, Christo. I mean, they're going to go down, aren't they? I hate to say that. Under Serena, history has been repeating herself. Winning at Euros, getting to a World Cup, like with the Netherlands. Look, I've been quite pessimistic, right? Imagine if we go and defend the Euros on foreign soil. It'd be so good. I mean, it was so good, wasn't it, when we won the Euros? It was brilliant, and I'd love to see it again. Absolutely love to see it again. It'd be so good. It really would be so good. I think just going on to, I can see a lot of people wanting to talk about the FA Cup replays. I look, there's no doubt they should have been scrapped, but there's no way that they should have been scrapped, and I think it's killed a very long tradition of football. Semi-finals at Wembley as well are the biggest travesty ever. Absolute biggest travesty ever. Replay scrapped because of the expansion of the not so many are Champions League, the match channel, and they've decided that replays are not what they want. I think that the FA have invested in her for a while. She's got a fair bit of credit in the bank. Should be tournament go belly up. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think she's earned the right. I personally, I wouldn't. Well, it's a tough one, isn't it? Because we haven't had a good couple of years. We have. I mean, the Lionesses, when I say good, we've not been disastrous, but she's struggled. She has struggled over the past couple of years to get, that again, going back to that consistent form, consistent, performances and stuff like that. So if we go there and have a really poor tournament, it's not like it's an isolated thing. We haven't been that strong really for a good number of years now in terms of that, consistency. So yeah, I hear that, but then you look at where it's going and you think it wouldn't be a surprise if England really struggle at this Euros. If we win the Euros and World Cup back to back, then we need to give a 4-year extension. Need to give her the job for life, mate. Absolutely give her the job for life if she does that. My team got spanked twice in a week by Brighton, says Charlie. France away has been our only statement victory post-World Cup, if in memory serves me right. Yeah, the Tamworth versus Tottenham game would have been a replay, but wasn't such a shit. Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. It's been really frustrating. But at the same time, look, the FA Cup is just, it's going to go by the wayside, isn't it, as it goes on. One sec. I am going to be probably cutting it short tonight, guys. Probably going to give it a minute or two longer. I've got a very early start at work tomorrow. But look, ultimately, they'll be dropping a preview. I'll be dropping a preview video early next week, Monday, Tuesday, in regards to this game, Portugal. I'm gutted, absolutely gutted. I can't live stream it on Friday because the first game of the year, I'd love that. But Wednesday, let's all get on and watch this Spain game together. I think that'll be brilliant. I think that'll be really, really good. Let me know your last minute thoughts in the chat. So last thing I'm going to ask, will the Lions what? Charlie, you got me on 10 talks. Will the Lions what? Will the Lionesses win the Euros? No. I mean, it's not a wild thing for me to say, is it? No, but I just think Spain are too strong, mate. I think Spain are winning the tournament. So yeah. Matt, sorry to disappoint. If Serena wins a World Cup and another World Cup, give her a statue. Oh, mate, we'll not do that, but I mean, how old would she be? She'll probably retire. She'll be long retired by then, won't she? The thing with Tamworth, they went through in an earlier round on pens against Burton. Should that have gone to a replay? Well, yeah, the argument, based on what tonight is, said, yeah, arguably it should have done. I get it. Sometimes you just think replays. Everyone sometimes is a bit like, we really don't want to replay. Because they'd also put the replay on like a Tuesday night and a stupid kickoff. And yeah, it was. I get the difficulty with replays, but the problem is you're chucking tradition out and history, aren't you? And that sort of those special moments and the financial benefits of other clubs as well. So I get it. There's an argument for either side. There really is. It's a really tough one. But anyway, guys. I mean, I thought it was quite short. We're only 10 minutes short. But thank you all so much yet again. Finally, we've got some England games to talk about. I've been struggling coming on thinking, right, what do we talk about this week? What do we talk about this week? But we've got some England games. And next Sunday, we'll have a result. We'll actually have a performance to talk about, which I can't wait for. Poland, Croatia and Japan are my favourites for the World Cup. Chris Longcourt, I don't know what you've been smoking, mate, but good luck with that. Yeah, no, I get it, but I believe in the Lionesses manager and team. Serena is a winner and she knows how to get the best out of the players. That is no better way to end. Charlie Kelly coming in with the optimism there. The financial benefits can be expanded without the use of replays. Well, good point. See you next week, Gary. Take care, mate. See you next week, Charlie. You too. Thank you all so much once again. Hope you all have a good week, whatever you're doing. Love these chats. See you all next Thursday. And next Sunday, and then the following Wednesday. So we've got a few things coming up, and more videos will be dropping now that we've got games to actually look forward to. So hope you all have a great week, whatever you're doing, and hopefully maybe see some of you at some England games coming up as well. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all